Good evening. How are you? I found another bolt. We've got to fit another bolt in. There's so much stuff here, but we've got to fit another one in. Where shall I put it? I'll just put it up top. Maybe I'll pop up in there. Just for now. How are you all? You good? Did I say that? Alright, I'm sorry. You know, these evening stints seem like a good idea, but I'm not so sure. I need to sit down. It's been a very big day. I'll just sit down for a minute. Oh, that's better. Lovely. Shall we just say hello first, romper room style, and then we'll get going. I've had my third wardrobe malfunction in the past week, which means it's time to tidy the wardrobe. So it's very plain Jane tonight. Anyway, who's here? Fiona, good evening. Hello Yvonne and Jude. Hello Sue. Good evening Linda. Thank you Fiona. We have dabbled in this colour story a lot this year, haven't we? And might be mixing it up a bit in the next few weeks. But there's been such a beautiful trend and you know, a series of fabrics that have come through in these colours. They've been lovely to work with. Good evening, Bronwyn. Yvonne says hello, everyone. Hello to you too. Judy V, I still have not replied to your email. I will be in the car tomorrow. I might try and call you instead. Who else is here? Nan, good evening. Margaretha, lovely to see you. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me. But I know you're here. Good evening, Maggie. Good evening, Jimmy. I just got a message from Natasha because I've boo-booed big time. She goes, don't panic. I'll tell you why in a minute. Jimmy, hi. Kerry Lee, hi. Sandra McLean, good evening to you. Bronwyn, hi. Bernadette, good evening. And you're first up this evening, Bernadette. Del, hi. Tracy, Sharon Keys is here from Keysborough. Good evening to you and all the girls. Maggie, hi. Anne, good evening to you. Hello, Chris. It's so nice this year, isn't it? Because we've actually seen each other in person. That's happened a lot this year, and it's just so lovely now. Kathy, Denise, Liz, doing the whole hi. Denise, good evening to you. Sylvia Trencher is here from Numurkah. If you didn't know where Sylvia is, you do now. And she will be down with the game in 5.5 weeks. Yes, it might be exciting to you, but it's a bit of a panic to me some days. Jackie, good evening. Glennis, hi. Janine, where have you been? Oh, it's so good to see you. Lovely you could join us this evening. Nan, Bernadette, Yvonne Collinson, it's been so long. I saw Yvonne on the weekend. I'll tell you more about that in a tick. Yes, Jimmy, how is your thumb? This is what we all want to know. Is the thumb okay? Do you still have 2 thumbs? No, I don't think it was that bad, was it? Me, good evening. Hello, Jeanette. Carol, good evening to you. And that, yes, I had a bit of a slip myself yesterday, and I thought, yeah, Jimmy did warn me about that, to be super careful. The beautiful Leesa King that used to work with us when we were at the warehouse, she did a big one making masks over lockdown, and to this day she still wears a chainmail glove on her other hand, as you know Steve and I do when we're using the electric rotary cutter. Good evening, Francis. Lovely you could join us too. Pauline Bocky is here. Oh, it's going to be a fun evening. It's going to be a really, really fun evening. Now, so I just had to apologise to Natasha because sometimes, I mean, I love it when Em comes and we do a show together, and it's fantastic and it's really, really good fun. But sometimes, particularly now, leading up to soiree, Christmas, club, designing work and everything we're doing for next year, if Em and I do a show with you, we lose half a day, at least half a day. And so today was one of those days I knew we wouldn't be able to do it. So Em's been here all day with me, working with Steve. And yeah, we got lots and lots done. But so I thought I'll do a show in the evening. I thought, I don't want to clash with Natasha, who you know is our mate in the UK. And I thought, I can't really get round it. I'll start at 8. She starts at 7. I'll get a head start. Oh my God, about daylight saving kicking in. Oops. My bad. So I'll just apologise to her. Anyway, you can always watch back later. Watch us or watch them. Christine Davey, good evening. No, Fiona, no, thank you. I'll check with Jenny, but I'm pretty sure we don't want a barking Labrador. Not on my wish list. Jenny Sleeman, hi. Christine, where's your late note? It's perfectly fine. Hello, Julie. Okay, so first, we've got lots to get through. What do we talk about first? Should we talk about... No, we won't do Bernadette first. Well, let's talk about Naughty Quilt Show first. North of the Yarra Quilt Show. So I popped in and saw you for 3 hours, didn't I, on Saturday afternoon, which is very cruel to do. All that meant that all the North of the Yarra Quilt Guild girls that were putting up the quilt show at the time I did it all rushed to the stand on Sunday morning to have a look at what I've shown on the show. But we did things for a limited time. Now look, I think there's only one bolt that's not back. One bolt did go. It doesn't go with anything that I've got here on the set, so it was pretty good. And a lot of you grabbed some of the specials, some of the new things as well on Saturday afternoon, which was fantastic. So we had a great time at the North of the Yarra Quilt Show. Beautiful quilts, stunning work, just gorgeous. Got to spend a bit of time with Karen from Somerset Patchwork, Leanne's Quilting Service. Who else was there? Heather Purdy was there with the bag furniture. Anyway, it was really, really good. And Robin was there as well, who made the beautiful... I'm going to show you a close-up of one in a minute. The beautiful wooden leaves. Actually, I can now. On the quilt that I made in 5 days for the show. And I did a series of... It became epic. It was almost like a David Attenborough series by the end of it. I did 10 parts and shared it, the journey over the 5 days, with members of A Quilter's Life. So that's, if you haven't been in and had a look yet, and you remember, it's under the AQL Make section. So you can go and have a look at it. From designing it up, we started with plates, cups and saucers, and we ended up with that. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a close-up on some of the leaves. Well, actually, I'm not going to pull it down and show you. What I'm going to do is actually make a couple of them with you tonight and show you how I did it, my favourite ones that are on there, with cork. That's what we're going to do this evening. But these are... did I even look where I put the cameras? Yes, I did. There you go. These are the beautiful leaves. You see that? Look at that. That inspired the quilt. And look, the quilt's not perfect. 5 days. And it was literally make it up as I went. No hand stitching needles were harmed in the making of the quilt except for the binding on the back. But aren't they just beautiful? Now these are all laser cut wood. See, this one's my brooch, so I can pull it off and wear it off the quilt. And then she uses beautiful watercolour textures to shade like ombre over the top. So they're really stunning. So it was just so nice to have the finished thing done and then put it in the show and then be there with Robin and look at all her other beautiful things. Now, we did try to film with Robin and interview her, but the reception was really weird. It was fine when I went and checked it out previously, and on the Friday when I dropped off the quilt, she weren't too great on Sunday, so it's very glitchy, but you can meet Robin and you'll see her stunning quilt and some of the other things that she does. So I could have actually... Oh, look, you know, let's just take this off. This beautiful dragonfly brooch was a present from the beautiful Heather Purcell, the late Heather Purcell now, that founded with her husband Bob the Superior Thread Company that I still can't talk about. I'm too upset. She died recently. Beautiful lady, and that was a present from her. So I love to wear it. And I might just put my Robin brooch on instead, because it kind of matches the top that you end up buying when you go into the Harris Scarf sale for a saucepan and a frying pan, and you come out with 2 tops, various pieces of underwear and other things that you didn't plan to, because there's a sale that happens, especially when you've got your mum Pam with you, who's a great shopper. So anyway, the show was great. That was in. We're going to talk about that a bit more. And the biggest karma full circle thing happened, which was really, really good for me. And Emma, none too happy when she saw what I got today. So, very, very talented textile artist, Chris Field, was there. and she makes amazing bags. Now, she had beautiful bags at our botanical bag exhibition 4 or 5 years ago at the Australian Botanic Gardens in Cranbourne. We did a botanical bag exhibition. We sort of had a year off from doing the full-blown ones. So Chris had beautiful bags in there. It's a long story. I had a German tourist in tears because she couldn't have a bag that had a sold sticker on it. It was me that had bought it, and I weakened to know that I had it, and I regretted it to this day. But when Chris came to pick up, well, I think there was only one bag left, pick up her last bag, someone's husband had put a beautiful red jumper of mine in a hot wash, and it went through, and then in the dryer, and it came out 3 sizes too small because it was wool. So instead of crying over it, I took it and I gave it to Chris, because what she does a lot of the time is she upcycles jumpers that aren't worn anymore and she felts them. So I'm eyeing off this divine bag. Doesn't go with the set, I'm sorry. This amazing bag on her stand. They had charity quilts and things to sell to raise money. And I went over and I said to Chris, oh wow, can I please look at this bag? And she goes, you know where the red comes from, don't you? And you know what it was? It was my jumper that I had given her all that time ago. She's actually made 2 bags out of it. I just wanted to give you a close-up. Look at the detail. I don't know how she does that. It's sort of like smudgy paint, and then she stitched over the top for the leaves. So I said to Chris, well, you know where that bag's going. So I brought it home. I think Chris's bags, she is probably the only person I have bought handmade bags off. I think her work is just amazing, and she's upcycling at the same time. That may or may not be my, I think I own 3 of her bags. I know that the last one I bought, it was 2, must have been 2018, so it was 5 years ago, and I took it when Phil and I went to the UK, and I wore it everywhere. Because it had gum leaves on that one too, so I just got that over there. Love my bag. So I don't know how you felt jumpers and turned them into, I don't know how to do that, but I think I might have to learn. I might have to learn. Alright, so that's my show and tell. Oh, thanks, Pauline. Yeah, well, we will talk about that. The ombre thing was a little bit of a revelation. But I've sort of been down that track before. There's another fabric that I call my Therese Parry fabric. Therese is a great mate and does amazing work. She was at the Sit and Sew and is doing incredible self-designed borders for my applique sampler. There's another fabric that we've looked at together that's all grey, and it's just got this band of black through it. Now everyone else is looking at it going like this, but we actually are looking at running it vertically. I think I've used it on one of my YouTube shows with the ruched Waratah head. It's in there. It was amazing fabric, but I think vertical's the new way to use them. Now, got lots to go through. What do I want to tell you first? Bernadette, you're second in line. 2 ticks. So, first up, the chrysanthemum block for the Oriental Baltimore is now online. So, if you are in a quilter's life, you will get this pattern. It will probably go live. It'll go live early. I'm going to get Cass to put it up on the 13th, because the 13th of October is the date that we are going to do this blocks show. So this is where we'll sit. We'll talk about pre-piecing, ruche for the ruching, back to the thin lines, needle turn, so forth for this one. So I've popped that one up. You can buy the block kit. There's 2 of them there, one with the pattern and one without. If you are in a quilter's life, then you only need to, can I do that? I can do that. You only need to buy the pack without it, because the pattern is included in your $10 a month membership. So if you've just joined recently and you would like the previous 4 blocks, just get in touch with me and we can organise that for you, and we would send you out hand printed copies of the pattern, so you're sort of in catch up mode. But if you've got a printer at home and it's only black and white, it's fine, because you're going to have the colour on your desktop when you've downloaded your pattern each month that you can refer to. And then if you've got the kit, made in the shade, because you'll have all of the colours. Of course, you can use your own stash as well. Of course you can. So you can do that. Or if you don't want to join a Quilter's Life, you can buy the whole pack, and it's actually got the pattern in there, and it's full colour, and it's lovely and glossy for you. Yeah, and you might just want to make one. You might have a lovely room that you would like to put a little dash of yellowy goodness and sunshine into for summer. You don't have to do it on black. Our kits actually come with the fat quarter of background in them. But you might want to do it out of your own fabrics, maybe some beautiful ombre for these, and just have a nice cushion sitting in a corner. Be really lovely. Or pop one on the wall. A lot of people originally with the quilt, because we've got the 9 blocks, would do a series of 3. So they would pick 3 and run them as a wall hanging, and that looked really lovely as well. So anyway, they're up. So with or without the pattern. And please remember what happens with these kits, it includes the postage. So you don't pay postage on top. So just keep that in mind when you see the price. That does include the good $3.30 or whatever it is postage as well. So they're quite good. They're quite good value. But this is that's our next block. A lot of fun. So we've done ruching. We have done our ruching already with the ginger block. We're going to take it a step further. We're going to pre-piece fabric to create literally like a paste block to cut our ruching from, and now we're going to twirl it all up together. So that's up. So you've got heaps of time. It did work. I think it worked really well this time that we got the kits out early for you, so you had them in your hand when we actually did the show, and you could get stuck in straight away. So you've got, yeah, you've got heaps of time, but it's all ready to go. All right, now the other thing was, this was the Dear Leesa letter from Bernadette. Dear Auntie Leesa. No, Bernadette asked just for a bit of clarification on the origami block. So when we did it a couple of weeks ago, and we had the pin cushions available, and then I thought the advent calendar was in the pattern, and no, I was out by about 5 years. So I found it out of the archives, and we're actually going to make the advent calendar up. I've chosen fabrics with M today, so we're getting cracking on that. So we'll be back with that very, very soon. And a very kind of classy Christmas table runner as well. So we've had it in Under the Australian Sun for a while. All I'm going to say is the one we're doing is going to go beautifully if you have our latest 3D Christmas tree wall hanging. It's going to match really, really nicely. So Bernadette asked, she got stuck. Okay, all right. I think Bernadette, if I pick you up from about here, you might be okay. So I'll just unfold this. When we made our origami blocks, we folded, ignore this bit here, we folded all of our points into the corner, we flipped it over, we folded them all in again. We flipped over and we stuck our block center here into the middle of our folds, and this goes on point. Then what we did, into great big large steaming iron, we folded all of these guys into the middle. So these are all covering up. There we go. They're all covering up that little piece that we've stuck in the middle. So a lot of people think that that dark bit, which you make from your background fabric, there we go, it just kicked in with the steam. That this bit in here is part of this background square, and it's not. It's a separate piece. And that's why it's really good fun, because you can make that centerpiece out of anything. A little picture for a little person to peekaboo at, anything like that. So we flip it back again, and then we open these out. So we've got one. Look at those gardening hands, holy moly. This one out here. Okay, so that's all of our origami folds done to there. Have I just I nearly buckled my block. Nearly buckled my board. All right, so that's done. Then you take your background piece. Now I'm not sure this is actually the right size. I kind of, what a numbnut. I made a bit of a guess. So you fold this vertically and horizontally. Good evening, Lee. Hi, Jenny. Hello, Christine. Jill's here too. Hello. Carleen Richardson's in the building. So you've got lines now that you just do a light press with, vertically and horizontally. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then the V's, Bernadette, are these little bits here. These bits on your origami fold. So this is where people go, but this blue in here is part of this. Is actually not. They're separate. All right. So you actually sit these V's on the lines that you've pressed in, and then you pin them in place. Good evening, Liz. Thanks for joining. Hey to you too. Okay. So then I like to put my pins in all the way down, and that way they can stay in there. I'm pretty sure that's in the pattern. They can stay in there. Kathy, good evening. Hello, Diane. Okay, I'll pop those in there, and then they'll stay. So then the next step after this is you cut squares, and you use them just like cut off triangles. Does that make sense? So if that was a square, that's going to go on there, and you actually sew across, trim off the excess, and you fold that back, and it encloses that raw edge on this one, opposite sides first, and then you do these two, and then you do it again with some of the designs. You do it again. I don't think you do with the pin cushion, but some of them, if you've got the origami pattern that's got 4 or 5 different patterns in it, you do another little cut off triangle. We'll do that when we come back and do the table runner, and it just creates the illusion of having extra little squares. So Bernadette, I hope that helps. Angela's here. Do you know, Angela's so much fun. I decided that we might go to Bright for a few days, and you don't look on booking.com, you don't look on What If, you don't look on Tourism Victoria, you ring your mate that owns So Bright Quilting in Bright and ask her where to stay. So actually I think I was in Harris Scarf at the time when I did that. So Bernadette, I hope that helps. If you need any more help, just email me and I'll give you a hand. Not a problem at all. Alright, now what do I have to tell you today? No, not that way, wrong way. I quilted the peacock. So my peacock is all together. All I have left to do is pop my binding on. Now, when we talked about this quilt, when we were sticking all the bits on, if you remember, we talked about the outer border round the edge. And I hope you do remember that, because if not, go back and have a look, because what we talked about was, with a lot of my designs, like, oh, I don't know, Panel Magic, Summer Palace, all my ones that I did quite a while ago, and including this one, I have a narrow border of black that goes round the edge. So when you get your kit out, if you've already got one, I can show you what it looks like on the front of this pattern. If you do have this kit, you would have got a picture of mine, and if you do get one now, you'll get a picture of where mine's up to. They look very similar to the original one on the pattern, but I'll still pop this photo in for you. So, oh, it's all shiny, but can you see this has got a wider border around the outside. So what we were talking about is sometimes when you've got a narrow border around the outside, if you've got enough fabric, it's quite smart, intuition, I don't know what to say, smart, it is smart, to put a bigger border on so that it's easier to quilt, and then trim it back to the size that you want. Okay, so instead of trying to, you know, when you get out to the edge here and you kind of trying to maneuver yourself with just a little thin strip of black on the edge and you're trying to keep it straight, it's much easier to put a wider piece on and then pin that really well, and it'll keep the edge of your quilt straight, and then you can come back and trim it back to the actual width that you want. Now, when I was doing mine today, and it was today, this afternoon, I decided I didn't want the big black border like the one on the pattern. I just went, no, I actually don't want to add that much. So I'm just going to put black binding around the edge of mine. So it's all trimmed back, ready to put my black binding on. But if I was doing it, as I said, the other way, I would probably I would expand the border, maybe just half an inch, just a little bit more, or an inch, so that I can work my way out right out to that edge. It is amazing how, even when you keep them really, really straight, you can sometimes get that little bit of movement in them. This one, I haven't ironed it yet, and it's just, you can't see it. There's just a little bit of a curve. It's fresh off my quilting of my Q20, and so it will settle down and I'll give it an iron. When I put the photos into the kits, and I should put a couple up on Facebook. Actually, no, look, if you want to see close up my quilting, just email me and I'll send you a couple of photos. I've gone through and I've actually added in a little bit more feather detail in a different colour. I think you can, oh, you can just see it. You can just see it a little bit more in a blue over the top here. And I popped in some extra feathers down the bottom. So for me, I just wanted to add a little bit more to it. Yeah, but I'll get the binding on that, and might take it down to the soiree. I'm not sure. Probably will. We've got. So Steve did a count today. We actually took offline the elements of these kits a little while ago. What happened then? I just put it in and it must have gone in through the... Give me a second. What happened? There it is. Yeah, Steve went through and we took all the elements off the website because we wanted to make sure we could make as many kits as we could. So the elements are black magic, 2 meters of that, gorgeous bit of designer shimmer. That was a limited edition aqua one that was done that went with luminosity. Then you've got your beautiful luminosity dragonfly prints in here, and you've got a big wad of 4-inch pieces, and you can't see it quite that well in there, but if I hold this up for you, you've got all of these beautiful things. There's 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's right, there's 11. We put an extra freebie in, so there's 11 in there. So you've got all of those in this kit. And then what you'll do, I used all of the ones from this roll for all of my peacock feathers. Then I used the inner border fabric for the main part of the body as well, and a couple of the leaves. And then you've got heaps of your dragonfly prints to use for the larger feature pieces that are on the outer border that are all paste. Right, so you've got lots and lots of fabric in there to play with. I think it's a really, really fun project. You've got enough for your binding as well. I would get your top done first, and then let's talk backing later. But you will need some steamer seam. And steamer seam's great because it's the one, unlike Glyzofix, that stays sticky. So if you are looking, if you haven't got any paper backed adhesive for this, steamer seam 2 light I would recommend to grab with that. So we've got 6 of those, and then once they were all put together, we had just 3 of these lovely rolls left, so they're tagged as well for tonight, and they are rather gorgeous in those colours. So we've got those. What else oh yes, big decision today, big decision. We only have 2 of this pack left. This is the lilac pack. This is the one where I tried to put you together. I keep calling it fuchsia, and evidently it's not. It's lilac. It's lilac, pinky lilac or something. Anyway, there's only 2 left, and we just had to make the hard decision today that we won't be repeating this pack. I think we did it as a limited edition, and we're down to 2. And it is because it's got my lilac flowering gum in that we don't have anymore. So there's 2 of those left. They do go quite nicely with some of the new Northcote shimmers, with lots of things. So there's 2 of those. Oh, and we got these back in. So if you're waiting for your, I know summer, for your EPP paper pieces, for your Christmas stars, the decorations that we did earlier in the year. There are more of those now up on the website as well. So these have got 15 large and 15 small. So you can actually make them straight into decorations to hang, almost sort of like one on each side, or you might like to use them for paper piecing into blocks, little Christmassy quilts. I've popped some ideas on the back as well of how to use them. Okay, so they're back in stock. I don't like it when things are out of stock. It's not very nice. Now, newsflash. I made a big boo-boo, and you know I'm good at that. So I took all of the cork offline. I didn't delete it. I don't know why it's deleted, but I didn't mean to delete it. So when I went to put it back on for tonight's show, because I took it with me to North of the Arrow Quilters because I thought, and there was quite a bit of interest in the cork because of the cork in my quilt. So a lot of discussion, a lot of talking, people buying cork, and that was all great. I came back to put the rest of the stock back on. It's gone. I don't know what I did. There's 2 or 3 things that are gone. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't have the time to work out how to upload it again because we used to, as you know, sell this in 10 centimetre pieces because it's $60 a metre. And so when you buy a piece like this, which is 70 centimetres wide and 10 centimetres wide, it was $6. And that's kind of okay because I probably only used, or I may use 20 centimetres in my quilt, if that. I know I didn't use it all because I was a little bit flamboyant at the end, a bit over the top, and used it for my label on the back, which was just pinned on. So you don't need a lot. Oh, and this is what you need to make up like one of our makeup purses or something like that. So, solution. Anyone that makes a purchase between, well, Fiona, you placed an order and Carol placed an order. So Carol and Fiona in the last hour have placed an order. So you're in, and then from the start of the show, because I just couldn't do that to you, if you purchase $50 or more, I'm just popping you in a piece of cork. I'm just putting it in there. So if you do purchase $50 or more, I have enough for 9 natural with gold and 9 black with gold. So in the comments section, it's got to go in there. I won't necessarily be able to marry it up with emails. Please do just say natural or black, and I'll give you a piece of cork. So you can have a play too. We're going to have a play tonight. That was the easiest thing to do, wasn't it? Just make it a freebie. So I'll give you a close-up. That's the natural, and that's what I have used in my quilt. And we're going to have a play tonight with the black. This is a larger piece of black, yes, I know, but I had to nick a bit. Actually, this has been in my stash in my office. I don't know when I nicked this, but I did a quick count. So I've got enough to do 9 of each. So the first 9 orders will get a piece of black or a piece of natural as you request. And if I run out of one, I will pop the other one in for you, all right? Because it's just all about, I want you to have a play. So we're going to get to that. Now, yum, yum, yum. These are Michael Miller. I know, I thought they were timeless treasures too, but Michael Miller's lifting the game in the bling department. If you're not a blue-purple person, I will talk to you next week. There is more to come next week, I promise. Good evening, Ruth and Rosie. I've just got to, who have I missed? Judy Short, good evening. Jill Cross is here, better late than never, absolutely. Jenny, hello. Wendy, hi. Cindy's here from Yeovil. Corinne's here as well, lovely to see you. All good. And, oh, thank you very much, Sharon. That would be lovely. We can all get together at the Christmas soiree and talk origami. We'll do it with Christmas paper. How's that? We'll do that. All right. We'll keep going. Have a paisley. Have a paisley. Have a paisley. Look at that. I had a lady at North of the Arrow Quilters come and buy this paisley for her Christmas table because her lovely daughter had married a lovely Indian gentleman and she just thought that Bollywood could be really nice. I'll lay the other ones out for you. So there's that. These are all under the banner on tonight's show. I think Stephen put Peacock Through the Window and More on it. So they're all under tonight's, and these, they'll stay marked for, you know, until probably for a fair while. If the banner comes down and you can't see it, it's under show 73. So no space between the word show and the number 73. Just run them all together, show 73, and you'll find them there. Look at that beautiful blender. Does that not just scream hydrangeas? Isn't it gorgeous? What an amazing blender. Just, yeah, I know. They look like our friend Chol, don't they? From in the, she didn't jump camps, did she? No, she did not. Just checking. It's called Opulent Floral, this one. Look at it. Oh my goodness. And then it's got friends. So if I do like this one, I think if I was making a bag, I rather like this. This to me, I mean, this screams quilts and bags, probably small bags because it's really busy. If I had a bigger one like our designer tote, I would probably go here and put plain black with it. It just calms everything down just a little bit. And look at them together with those two underneath. Wait, there's more. But wait. And this is their little friend. So pretty. So I think what's great here, we've got 3 really different scales of print and design, so they can all go into the same work. You know, this is your big one. This is going to be for medium blocks. Maybe you've got a block that's got a large piece of this, and then we can run this with this blender underneath into 2 smaller ones. Really, really nice fabrics. Now what I have done, just to stir the pot a bit, I've pulled out the ombre that I used in my quilt, right? And this is tagged as well. So this is gelato and it is QV. So this works beautifully. I'm going to leave this out for a minute. I want to show it to you with that little blender underneath. And if you're more of a purple girl, like Diane Ross, North of the Yarra Quilter, this is the one for you, because there are little hints of pink on the tips of these flowers, and definitely down in this blender. So I'll leave that one over there. Do you know, I dropped off a machine at Sewing Bee Cafe in Baxter to go for a service, because Tim's still not back on his feet yet, so it's going up to head office. It's actually my 720 that I need to find needs a new home. So I got the red one for a placement. Yvonne, perfect! Gotta love the paisley. Yeah, you did, Yvonne, you did. You did get it for a placement. Gorgeous. Maria, that's absolutely fine. I love the way you all apologise for being late. It's so funny. I completely lost my train of thought then. I don't even know where I was going. But these two here, oh yeah, Diane. And she asked me to pick her up some bobbins, and I picked them up, and they're still in my car, and I saw her all day Sunday. We do these things, don't we? So I've got to send them off to her. So I'm going to leave that one out. And the other one, look, the other one that I took with me on Sunday was Augusta. And Augusta is one of the Hoffman boutiques. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Not sure I've tagged that, but it's Augusta. So you just put the word Augusta into the search window, that little baby will pop up, but that's just perfect with it. Lovely. Okay, let me just put this all back up here. And I mean, look at the blue in it. If you wanted a blue solid to go with that, please just let me know, and I will be straight out there in the Northcote Colourworks department finding them. How did I have this stand? Oh yeah, that's right. This was hanging down, wasn't it? I might hang a different one. Let's hang. I'll put this one up the top. And leave that out. Not knock over the Barocca. Let's hang this one a bit, just so you can see it. Is that okay? Alright, so this is, I just wanted to show you these with this ombre. Okay. So see what, I don't know if you can see that, but see what I mean? This toning here is a darker version of these. So they go beautifully together, because once you get up to here, it switches and it pulls in all these ones. So this ombre, which is Gelato 205, is going to pull up the pinky, the more pinky lilac colours in the blender. And then when I switch over this way, they don't go at all. And that's the weird thing. They don't go at all. But when you go back and you pull in the friends, they do. So this will work together if you've got this one in. And the same thing happens with this one. That's fine. That's fine. So these will all go together, but they don't go on their own. Isn't that weird? And clever, because that means that these are super duper blenders. Let's put this one off. Okay, so the one, my quilt that's on the wall uses this. I'm going to leave it there for a tick. Actually, I need to put that over there for that one. And up until last week, I always, when I looked at these, I always looked at using this for the base of a quilt and then working my way up. And when I did that, I was quite limited, because I'd sort of get up to about here and then it starts going dark again. And so I would never think about using the whole width of the bolt. So what I did with the quilt on the wall is we went this way. So if I lay that down like that for you, and it comes through to about here. So I didn't use the full width. I've come through to about there. So when I pop this back and you can see the one on the wall, I think you can just nearly see it all. I might pull it down for you. I've got it on a small rod so you can see it. So if I just pop that there for you, I'll leave a very, very blank wall. You can see that I've gone from the base. It's nearly the base, because remember I've had to trim off a bit, and the binding all goes to the back. So I've run it from the dark right across to that would be about the middle of the fold, and then it's just starting to go dark again across there. While I've got it down, the leaf that we're going to do in a minute is one like this one here. So we're going to have a play and do a little insert in a leaf together. In fact, we're going to do 2 inserts, which I did not do in any of the leaves on the quilt. So we're going to have a go. You can see over here, this one's got silk top stitched on. This one's bagged, wait, no, you can't see that. There you go. This one's bagged out the way we did the leaves for our cherry blossom block on the Oriental Baltimore, okay? So there's just lots and lots of different combos using cork, different bits and pieces. This one here was bagged out. He's still left nice and baggy. This has got, it's kind of an insert, but I put bias around the edge. I'm trying to devise something to do for my Quilters Life members that is an actual project, not just making leaves like we're doing tonight, that we can do together. I'm trying to come up with sort of like a, I know, almost like a Christmas theme because of the time of year, but we need to do something like that. So this, this stuff's beautiful, and so when you are looking at the ombres on the website, please think about them not just the way they appear, which I think is all vertically. Think about them the other way as well. Particularly things like the greys, the really sort of olivey greens. Those ones are really, really good to use. And you'll note that some of them are they are truly monochromatic, so they just stick within, say, all green or all yellow or all red, but some of them do change colour, like this one, from a purple through to a blue hue, and then there's some that go through sort of like beautiful melon tropical colours, so sort of from a yellow through to a pink. So there are lots of different ones that you can apply in different ways. All right, now what we're going to work with tonight to do this leaf is one of the new, and it's not an ombre, it's a real scene print that came in that I just briefly showed on Saturday. So this little bit that I've got sitting here comes from this bolt. And there was a little bit of a feeding, I'm not going to call it a feeding frenzy. I'm not going to put it up there, you know, with the pelicans at the San Remo Pier at 5 o'clock every night. I'm not going to put it there. I'm just going to say there was a lot of interest early on Sunday morning with these because I'd shown them briefly. So this changes colour and shading across the bolt, but they've been digitally printed, and I suspect that the artist has started all of this process with watercolor painting. It has to be. It has to be where it's come from. So I love this, but if I flip the bolt for you, it keeps going, and it goes all the way up to this pale color here. So they are truly wonderful fabrics to use for art quilts, for scenic backgrounds, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to use this one, and you can see that I've got a little bit here. I've actually chosen the lighter part of it to work with, and this is the rest of it here. So you can see that was all of it right across up to there. Isn't that amazing? You just don't know where to start, do you? Some of them will go together as well. So there's a few different colours. I haven't dragged them all out tonight for the set. There's just too many. This was a popular bolt, and I'm not surprised. It's beautiful, and it does go perfectly with the ombre that I've used in my quilt. So you can see that's where it comes up lighter to one end, and that's the dark one. And then there is a full-on purple. So you can start to see that some of them you could actually use together. So that's the purple one, and that goes right down to that dark colour. There's a couple more. As I said, I haven't put them all out. And this one, really earthy tones. To me, this is almost like nighttime down the beach. So this is really dark here and up into these sort of sandy brown taupe colours. Stunning, absolutely stunning. All right, so we're going to use, look, you have these little pebbly bits in here too. We're going to use this green one. Actually, I can't help myself, hang on. I just want to hold this up for you so you can see how beautifully that goes with those ombres. And this is gorgeous. Love that. And yes, I did, didn't I? I stashed a bit. I nicked a bit for myself on Saturday because I was a bit worried it was all going to go. All right, so I've got my bit off here. Now, I thought we'd do something tonight that I didn't do in my quilt. You know, we'll just push it a bit further. Oh, and no, we haven't got anything on. And when are you here? The 2nd to the 24th of November. You know what? Please email me, because there probably is something happening in that time. So if you want to email me, please do, and we'll see if there's something on where you can catch up with us. Jill Cross, I know you're thinking, because you were thinking about it on Sunday. I know you were thinking. Jill was talking giraffes. So these would be great backgrounds for a giraffe because of the pattern skin, the fur pelt. Oh, I don't know what to call it. The pattern on a giraffe. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so come back to this. Okay, so this is going to be, I'm just going to do a little bit of background, and I wanted to just do a little bit as well, because while I've done ridiculously too fast, wrist's still not quite right, quilt in 5 days, you could easily use this little method as well for a panel on a bag. Over here, you can't quite see them. I've got all the bubble, what we're calling bubble pebble ones that go with them. And you'll see all of those are up on the website as well. There's a couple here that I could choose from. So if I hold this up for you, see, look, that purple goes with that one down there. There's a gorgeous green. There is something happening with this for Christmas. I haven't quite worked it out yet because it's sort of like Christmas green and it's kind of like snow falling in front of the pine forest kind of feel to it. So I think that's it's happening in there. Like a good batch of Mum's chutney. It's just sort of simmering away for hours. I'm not quite sure yet what the outcome is. There you go. So this one is its friend. And you can see that it's got all these beautiful bluey greens happening. So these are friends. This one is Oasis and the scenic one was Spruce. Of course it was. Of course it was. Perfect then. Alright, so I might use a little bit of this one with this, with my cork. And I'm actually going to keep it really subtle tonight. I'm going to use my black because I don't want to eat into my giveaways, and that's the honest truth. So I'm going to use this. So this will, if I choose the right part, I'll get that little bit of contrast happening. But there's also a couple more up here. So there's this one. Yeah. I might do that one as well. I'll try the side. Oh, no, I know what we'll do. Okay. No, I'm not being sensible here at all. We will use this for one side of our leaf, and then we'll use this bit that I've got left over, yes, for the other side of the leaf. So, Steve's not watching, okay, and I know I frugally put the quantity up on the website, so I'm allowed to do that. Don't tell him, all right? Just don't mention it. I'll just show you, look. Whoa. See, they're just beautiful. I like these two. Those together would look amazing, and they would go with that one. Just lovely. It's just, I don't know, everyone was calling them something different. They were bubbles, they were pebbles, they were going home to be made into lizards. A lot of girls had just done a workshop with Gloria, so there was going to be a lot of scenic art quilt stuff going on. Okay. Alright, so like the one on my quilt, and it's also the heading that I had for tonight's show, we're going to use these two and we're going to put a leaf onto here. Now we're getting down to the serious bit, aren't we? So, we have to draw up a leaf. Before you say to me, Lisa, I can't draw a leaf, fine. Perfectly fine. You just pop it. I forgot this one. Oh, I'm going to put him back up. That's that gorgeous peacock. Luminosity. Luminosity? I'm going to say luminosity and pop it in. I don't know, think it's tagged. If you've got a pen, its code is 24455 and that will come up. That's that beautiful aqua that's in the peacock. But it's kind of loving being in here as well. So I'll leave that there. Okay, before you say you can't draw a leaf, fine. Just go out into the garden and find one. Just go out and find one. Nothing too complicated, and for what we're going to do, nothing too thin. So a nice kind of fat indoor palmy kind of palm-shaped leaf or something like that would work really well. Then we're going to draw it onto the right side of our cork. The great thing about the cork is you can draw onto it with a pencil. So when I did, have I got a rubber here? I don't think I've got one. But you can draw on, particularly onto the pale one, you can draw on with a soft grey lead and just rub it out with a rubber. It doesn't stay. So which makes it really, really good to use. And you can also draw onto the black one with a chalk pencil. And now you're going to put me right on the spot, aren't you? And I'm going to draw one on. So if I do a fat leaf. Do you know, I've been doing so many things with points on them. I could not stipple for love or money this afternoon. It took the whole border on the peacock to get my mojo back with my 5 fat finger quilting thing. Oh, yes, we're going to talk machine quilting again. I think we're doing that next week. No, not next week, week after. We're going to talk machine quilting because a few people want to quilt their own quilts for Christmas, and we need to talk quilting again. This is my leaf. I think you can just see that? See that there? I want to just chop him out. And now I've been very silly here because I've drawn it way too far from the edge. You don't have to waste any of your cork. All of it is salvageable. All these little bits around here you can do smaller leaves because I've been silly enough to not draw it close to an edge. So you can use all of it. I'm truly in love with the stuff. Okay, one thing, when you give this a go for the first time, and you can see here I've left a little stem at the top, that'll all be great. Shall we try out the sew line pen? Look at that, just rubs off. How fantastic is that? Okay, for the technique I'm going to use, I need to leave myself at least a quarter of an inch outline of the leaf. So first of all, I'm going to draw a line down through what would be the center vein, okay, on the leaf, and then inside that I'm going to draw in a generous quarter of an inch on the outside, like that, and then down through the center. So because I've got that middle line in there already, I really only need to leave, you know, about 1/8 of an inch. I'll hold that up for you. So you see that? So these bits here, this outline is actually what's going to be left. We're just going to have an outline of the black. Some of the ones on my quilt, you'll see I've left whole sides of the leaf, but I thought tonight we'll do 2. Haven't done it anywhere on here, but we'll do it. We'll just do 2. There's probably one somewhere. Oh, there's a couple on here where I've used the same fabric under both sides of the sections of the leaf. We're going to do 2 different ones tonight. Just try. So there's a few on here. There's a little leaf here on this. There's a little one of Robin's leaves on here, and it's hanging over a silk one, and it was my favourite silk one, and I don't remember hitting it with an iron too hot, but evidently I did, so now we have to have a wooden leaf over the top to hide the burn mark. But I don't think anyone except the girls hanging the quilt knew that. Monica knew, because she saw it. So and Robin saw, but that's what you have all these extra buttons and things for, so you can pop them over the top. Yeah, that's true, Sally. If you go line drawings of leaves on Google, or how to draw a leaf on Google, you will find every single leaf and intuition on how to draw leaves. There's heaps there. Come in very handy, particularly when you do maple leaves, because you know, like an oriental maple, an Acer dissectum, to get technical, they're actually quite hard to draw sometimes. So there's lots of tuition for that. Okay. Let's now cut this out. So I would recommend a little pair of scissors if you've got little Kais, something like that. Oh, newsflash, Therese Perry, if you're watching as well, I had a request for Little House pins, applique pins. They're a little bit finer. They're the red and blue ones that I use. They're just that little bit finer than the clover ones, and because a lot of us are working with batiks at the moment, usually it wouldn't make any difference, but at the moment it will with our batiks. So I've ordered them. They're on their way. And I've got them in little boxes or in cute little Christmas coloured glass pin heads in little bottles for Christmas. I've just popped a little nick in here, right on the line that we're going to cut, and then we're going to cut around this inner shape. Up to there. Now the cork that I'm giving away tonight with orders, sorry, I didn't clarify for you. I will get more stock in, and we'll get some of the pattern ones back in that we've had throughout the year. But tonight I just thought, nah, give it away. Okay, so I've just cut out that first section, and this bit here, he's not wasted. I can reshape that into a really nice little gum leaf or something. So I would probably, he just needs a little bit of a curve off on that side. You know how we get carried away with saucers and teacups, so I've just done that, just a little bit of a trim. There we go. Again, you would find a leaf shape that you like, and then we'll just take off that. And there you go, there's our leaf. And secrets out with the quilt, because I was very short on time, the leaves were actually appliqued on while I was quilting. The girls on a quilter's life know that. So all of the quilt lines are vertical, so as they came down, I'd stick another leaf underneath, go down through the vein, go up and around the leaf, back down to the point, and keep going. So with that in mind, if you were to have all your little leftover bits of cork leaf, you could easily save them all up and applique them and or quilt them. Just putting in a couple of vein lines for you, onto a bag or a pin cushion or a quilt. So there you go, just pop in your little veins down there. You see those okay? Yeah. And I could sew through all of those easily on the machine with a thread, no problems to pop it on. And that is the amazing thing about this cork. No special needle. I wouldn't recommend what I did up here unless you had a banana. I'm going to say that because the needle shaft strength on the bananas is second to none. I wouldn't go high speed with metallic thread over the quilt with a cork leaf on the top, unless I would do it with a walking foot. And I would go slower than I did. But what I did was insane with that, and that was because the speed was because of the banana. But just normal sewing on your machine with a normal needle, a normal foot unless it's really thick, or your walking foot's all you're going to need. Right, that's one side. Let's cut the other side out. And it was really nice because, you know, between you and me and the fence post, because I used to be a dealer and I knew how fantastic the machines were. But it was the first time since I have sold a machine. Who were my last two? Diane Ross and Eileen Campbell. That I had the opportunity to push my machines. This is my Q20 and my 7. I pushed them to the limit. And I think everyone should push their machines to the absolute limit every now and again, just to see what they could do. So many of us buy these fancy machines and we never really utilise them. How many girls do I know that have a banana that have never used their banana stitch regulator, or all of their feet, or changed their upper thread tension, all that stuff? Got to push that machine. Okay, now I'm just being naughty now, I'm trimming. But there you go. There's my leaf. So, here's what we're going to do. This is where the fun starts, and I'm making it up as I go. Elizabeth, hello! Thank you for joining us. Oh, thanks, Jane. Hello, Rhonda. Lovely if you could join us. Hi, Bev. Yeah, I'm in big trouble. I clashed with Natasha. It was very, very naughty. Anyway, all right, there's our leaf. So we want to pop one of these gorgeous fabrics on one side and the other on the other side in here. So we're going to do one at a time. First of all, I think that the left-hand side of my leaf, I'm going to put over this lightest bit. If I hold that up for you, you can see that. Isn't that going to look cool under there? I probably should have gone bright colours so you could see, but this is going to look really, really nice. So, a little bit of glue. Well, first of all, we don't need all of this, do we? Hang on, let me chop it off. Just need a chunk. Okay. Take that off. This needs to go. Hi, Susan. I'm going to put that there, like that. So I get this lightest bit peeping through this side. We're going to grab our glue stick. Grandy's here. I can see you all. So I can see you all on my phone. You're all there. Okay, flip this back over. And we're just going to put a little bit of glue around here. Now remember the rule with glue, that to respect your machine and your needle. So it's always good to have a little alcoholic wipe or something sitting next to your machine, and just watch for any glue residue on your needle so that it doesn't mess up your tension and things, because your bobbin thread will start to stick to your needle. So that's stuck on. We don't need to worry about all the other bits at the moment. It's nice to have this big bit to work with. So can't you see that on there with that? And it's going to go on. Might need to keep our little bits because they would look quite cute on there too. So what we need to do now, muscle, time to get the machine up. So we're going to sew this on first before we trim the excess off at the back. It's over there. It's over here. Move the stool back. Oh my goodness, this top I bought in the sale. It's not one that moves with you. It's kind of stuck. Probably just needs a wash. Hook it straight off the rack. Right, now I did have the camera in the right spot for you, so let me just have a look. Okay, put that back. Good evening, Louise. Golf today? Was there golf today? Yeah, no, it's only Tuesday. Okay, and then the magic of the switcher. There we go. So I've got, oh yeah, that's right, foot up. Needle up. There we go. I've got an embroidery thread in here. I've got one of the polysheens, and I've got, oops, sorry folks, bottom line in the bottom, okay. I have got the walking foot on because, as I said, you need a little bit of a grip. If you have a machine that allows you to change your needle shaft pressure, so the pressure that the foot puts down, you really can't see much there, can you? You kind of, let's move it out a little bit. There you go. If you know, the amount of pressure that the foot puts down onto the plate with your fabric sandwiched in between, you might want to increase it just a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error, but honestly, not a lot, and not because it's cork. So, and if you're on a dual feed machine, so if you have wider feed dogs, 7.7 on a Pfaff, your 9s on a Benina, then you can sew just with your dual feed engaged. It's going to be enough. So I want to come down this leaf, down the center piece here, and down this bit here, and I want to stick to one side, just to one side. So all that stuff we've talked about before with top stitching and everything, sometimes if you're happy, you can pop your needle so you know it's just 2 mil inside the cork, or if you don't like doing that and you would prefer to have your foot, or a really easy bit to see, sitting right against, I'm just checking I haven't got my straight stitch plate on, putting the foot right on the edge of the cork and then moving your needle position across. Why doesn't it want me to change my needle position? Hang on. Why? That one. So what have I told my machine that it thinks I can't do that? Have you got a smart machine like this one? It's like, no, There we go. So I can move my needle right out. Oh, I don't need to go that far. While keeping my foot, no, right on the edge. There we go. Now I'm happy. So, oh, and they are really big stitches. Drop your stitch length down. I told the machine I had my quilting foot on and it immediately upped my stitch length to 3. So we're just going to do nice little stitches, go nice and slow. If you've been really careful with that glue and just put a narrow line of it down through the middle, you're not going to pick up any glue. I think you pick up more just when you get impatient, don't you? And you don't wait for it to dry. Okay, we'll get down here. So I've been down the middle vein, and I'll just hold that up so you can see. I've been down the middle vein. Now I'm going to come up around the other side, but I'm going to stay on this inside edge. And you can see, it's just like, I can only describe it, it's like sewing through butter. If you've sewn through the rubber foam batting, it's kind of got that feel to it. And that is just a normal size 90 needle in this machine. There's my scissors. I just want to lift up my foot and cut off that bit from where we started. Okay, that's where we were, so I'll stop there. Okay, so now we've got, no, you can't see really well. Oh, you can see there, look. So we've got our stitch all the way around here, and this actual fabric is now secured in. So if we go over here on a close-up and show you, again without the barocca, there we go, turn it around that way. Okay, so this bit's now enclosed, so we can pop over to the back here, and here we go. We're going to trim away all the excess. Now you're going to need to come down quite scant, down to 1/8 of an inch, because we need it to be narrower than the width of this leaf outline that we cut out. So that's another really good reason to run a small stitch. No! Oh my goodness. And turn the predictive text off. Hey, Ange, did you know, sorry, I'm just laughing. Ange's just told me what predictive text is said, and I really don't want to know. If you, Ange, what used to happen, if I get tired, and you know how we say gonna instead of going to, my friends in Spain say it's hilarious because it picks up gonna as a gun, and so all the things that I'm gonna do to my quilts, it's I'm going to shoot them up. You know, they also watch Australian opal hunters and a few things like outback truckers, and I would actually like to know how hilarious is with a Spanish subbed voices over. I think it would be really, really funny. Okay, so there's our insert, all trimmed away at the back. Haha. So that's ready. Now we can do the same again with the other side, with our bubble. Pop that over there. Okay, so we're just going to be our background, so you can start to see how gorgeous it's going to look. Look. Oh, look, I could have just left the background under there. Huh? No. But I could have. It's got enough contrast on it. Okay, so we need a little bit of this. Scissors. Yes, I did oil the scissors before we left the warehouse, and they're squeaking again. Alright, same again. So now we're going to do this. So we'll head back over to the machine, and even though I've put it on an angle, it's still good, so I'll leave it there. Now, can I be bothered? No. I'm going to take one for the team, and I'm going to sew this without gluing it down. Some of the ones in my quilt are really quite puckery and some are not, and that was created on purpose, truly. By some of them I stabilized the fabrics in a hoop, just an embroidery hoop with weft on the back, and so they stayed nice and flat. And some of them I didn't. I put pellin underneath and didn't hoop them, and it intentionally kind of, the tension all went wonky and bubbled it all up, but it gave me different tension, different effects, which was really fun. This round. So I think if we do this, I want to do this project on A Quilter's Life, we might do a little bit of this leaf detail. We'll do some really different ones. We'll do some hoop up work and stuff first and cut it out and insert it underneath, and then I think we'll do a bag so that we use the cork as well down around the rim. I think that would be the best option. I'll probably do it as a published pattern, but it will be free for members on A Quilter's Life. Okay. Alright, so now we can head back over and have a look. So this is our other one. So we'll go to the back again and trim that off. I don't know where my little Kais are. They must be in my sewing room. You can be a little bit quicker and a little bit rougher with this because, you know, the cork is, you're not going to easily cut or pierce the cork by mistake. But you can just imagine what you can do with this. If you've done any workshops, sort of like with Olga Waters or someone like that, where you've done confetti work, oh my goodness, just so much you can do. Okay. There you go, there's the other side, and then when we flip over, here's our beautiful leaf. So we've got both our sides in, and that just was so quick and easy to do. Now we are going to cut out our whole leaf. I'm going to come back round and cut it out. So with the black cork, if you grab the black cork, the one thing that you might decide it doesn't worry you, or it might be a little bit of a challenge for you, is that it is painted cork. So with the natural one, it's natural and you've got this colour on the edge, but with the black, you've got your black painted on and you've still got your natural cork colour on the edge. So all I would do with that is hit it with a black Sharpie pen. And I don't even know if I've got one in here. I don't think I do. What have I got? Oh, yes I do. Just a tick, I'll grab it. Got that one. Oh yeah, this is good. Okay, so I learnt this trick from Eileen. Alright, so if I actually wanted to, and it wasn't to do with this, if I wanted to, you could go round and actually, oh no, you need a bigger one than that. Hang on, I think I've got a bigger one in there. I'm sure I saw a bigger one. No, I'm wrong. Anyway, grab a big fat Sharpie, my calligraphy pen, and you can go round and actually just colour that edge if you want to. I think it's quite nice that you can see it's cork. So if you wanted to, you could go around and brush up that edge so it's a little bit blacker. Up to you. I kind of like it with the cork. Right, so now what we'll do is have a look at what it looks like on our background. That's going to go on there. So that's going to look rather amazing, and these fabrics are great as well, and you get all this colour change because they're digitally printed. We can't do this with screen printing, so this is like photography. It's like photographic representation of an original colour wash. It's just stunning. So I think for me now, I'm going to sit that right in the middle of that panel so that you can see it. Again, you can, if you want to, you can glue it down. But now that we've got these inserts in here, we can pin. I've got this stuck onto that single-sided rubber foam batting. Okay, I'm going to come around this side and pop that one in, and that's enough for me to hold it there. You've got now the perfect setup, because our top stitching in here gives us an outline all on the inside of the leaf, and now we're going to use the same thread and come around the outside of the leaf, and it will look like you've twin stitched all the way around the leaf, but it's actually only this outer one that's holding it down onto the background. Depending on the texture and the size of your leaf, when you come to finish off your project, you might find that you want to run another line right down through the middle of that vein. It's going to look right, it's going to look botanically correct to have one right through the middle, but that's going to be up to you depending on what you're using it for. So we'll head back over here and we'll just stitch this on, and hey, let's grab this little one while we're here and pop it on too. Okay, I could start right up here at the top, but I'm going to start just down a little bit on the side. Now, I'm going to switch now and take my needle over. So it was on position 2 to the left. I'm going to take it to position 2 on the right. So now I've got the other side of my foot, the right hand side of my foot sitting right on the edge of the leaf. And then I know my stitches will be the same distance from the edge, but on the other side. So now I'm going through cork. I'm not going through any of the fabric insert because we've trimmed all that back. I'm going through the background fabric, and I'm going through the rubber foam batting. So there's a bit going on, so you really do want your walking foot on for this step, and even on your machine with your jewel, I try it first with the jewel feed, but then maybe switch over to your walking foot. When I did the one on the wall, I actually had my tongue in one direction, my toes crossed in the other direction, and I free motion quilted it on. So I actually had to have them secured down a lot more with glue and pins to do that, if I was doing this sort of thing. Yep, nearly went off the edge because I sped up. It's interesting because I've got more thickness happening here now. It does look like my stitches are slightly smaller, so that's just a learning curve for me, that with all of that extra thickness in there because of the foam batting, I might increase my stitch length when I come to sew it on. It just seems to be a little bit more, just a little bit shorter because of the extra thickness that the feed dogs are pulling it through. Up to that top bit wonky because I didn't glue it down. Flip around the corner, down the stem. I really hope you like working with it, and if you've bought some cork and it's sitting in your stash, it is time to get it out. Okay, I've got that on, and just before we head back over to have a closer look at it, I want to pop this little one on down here. And we're just going to freestyle this, okay? Let's just whack him on. So instead of doing those little veins that I drew on before, I am just going to head back up. Now, I've purposely made this a little bit wonky, promise it was on purpose, because naturally, you know, a gum leaf vein is a little bit irregular. So I've done that, and I should have a good finishing stitch there, but I haven't, have I? I'll come back and look at it later. Oh yeah, okay. So just chop this. pulled it up for you to have a look. Why is my camera gone fuzzy? I don't know. It's focusing on something different. Hang on a tick. Let me just try and... There we go. That's a bit better. How's that? We'll just grab my... We'll just grab that rubber again. And I can just rub out. So remember, I'm going to get more cork in, and but if you've got an order in, like Carol and Fiona, just, you know, just pop in Leesa, I would like natural if you could, or black if you could, and you will get 10 centimeters, which I'm sure you can see is going to be heaps to play with because you can get a lot off. And then this little leaf down here, you see that he's just held on at the moment with a centre vein, but he's on and he's not going anywhere. He's not going to fray, he's not going to do anything. So there you go. So, cork, great, no fraying. What else can you do? Well, if you've got some beautiful hand-dyed felt, now I'm going to see Jennifer at Wonderfill. I'm hoping next week. It will be, has to be next week. It has to be next week. For all those beautiful Suspago wool felts in all the beautiful colours, and we've had some of them before, and we've used them in soiree projects, all of that. So I'm going to go and see her felt. I've got felt in here. There is like a burgundy felt in here that I've had in my stash for ages. So felt's going, you're going to be able to do the same thing. Probably with felt, you've got a little bit more movement depending on which one you get. So definitely glue it down. But if you also think it needs a little bit more stability, no reason why with a Teflon mat you couldn't iron some whisper weft onto the back. Just remember to make it a smidge smaller than your actual leaf, so you don't see that little bit of white. Now on some of my leaves you can see white on the edges, and I don't like it, so when I come back and make more of these or remake this quilt in a different format, not in 5 days, more like 5 months, then I will keep that in mind, do it differently. If you also wanted to just pull out your batiks, and instead of doing the felt, just stick two together, because the batiks are fantastic, remember, because they're the same colour on both sides. So if you just, I'm not going to pull out I am not pulling out a blue one to have this discussion. Hang on, I'm getting a green one. Okay. Right. So if you had something like this in your stash, 2 bits, stick them together with good steamer seam, okay, something really nice and strong, and then you've literally got a 2-sided fabric, like and just like the cork, it's not going to fray because the batiks are fantastic for that. And then use that like I've just used the cork, draw it on, cut away, and put a different colour underneath, so a paler shade or a darker shade. And then if you wanted to, and you are using a plain fabric, not like these ones I've got on here, in here, before you actually put this bit underneath, whack a bit of whisper weft or interfacing on the back and stitch on some vine leaves. So vine leaves, you know what I mean, some vein lines, alright? So I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing, but you just want little wiggly lines and stitch them on. So I did that with my with some of mine. So I added some detail onto the plainer fabric before I actually sat it underneath the leaf. So lots and lots of to play with, but that technique, just make sure you leave those veins and the outline at least 1/4 inch wide, so you've got room to sew on, trim away, and sew on again. And as I said, you don't even have to do 2 different sides. If you wanted to, you could use the same fabric behind your leaf for both sides. I'm so relieved that worked. It could have all gone horribly wrong, but no, I've been playing with it all weekend. So, oh, sorry, Anne. Any needle, a good strong titanium needle. So Anne asked what sort of needle. I've got. Just a minute. Anne was sewing on this today. Oh, she was making the twisted log cabin wreath. It'll be done for us, not next week, the week after. No, next week. We're doing it. We're on Thursday next week. Sorry, I had to change days again. 2 o'clock Thursday next week. I think it's a big day. We're going to start talking quilting on the log cabin, and we're doing the chrysanthemum block. That is the 90. That is a stock standard superior thread 90. So we've got those on the website in needles. If you wanted to go a little bit thin, an 80 or a 90. I used an 80 a lot, and with that quilt, because I was using really, really fine Indian silks. So for those, there was a lot of 80 going on. But the needles go through. A lot of people said to me on the weekend when we talked about it that they just really, really loved working with the cork. And everyone seems to be so surprised with how easy it is to work with. Elizabeth, thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So look, I will, Judy, hang on, I've got to write that down, Judy, because what happens afterwards is I don't remember. Shall we write it on Bernadette's request? We'll fold over Bernadette's request because we've done that. But yes, please pop it in. Don't put it in comments like Judy just did. Oh my goodness, I'm glad I just saw it. Please pop it in comments on your order. And if you can't find it there or you forget, pop it in an email to info@Chandler's Cottage for me, and I will do that. Black stamp pad would work too. Yes, Angela, it would. That's a really good idea. That's cool. I'll have to do that. I'm glad. Listen, you know what? I know that I have achieved things when you all, Ginny, when you all can't sleep at night time. Oh, I just got my shins hammered. Yes, so that's all good. Please have a go. Please, please have a go. What are we going to do with this now? Besides take a photo of it and send it to friends and say, look what I did. No, because I do that, you know. We'll have to think, won't we? It'd still work on that one, wouldn't it? Well, we just do different shaped leaves on that one, and it would work on this one. So with this one, there's something inside that bolt. Don't even want to think about it. I'm thinking, see, on this really dark one, I think the natural would be better on that one, because you can see it. You can do really, I mean, if you do really narrow gum leaves, you can just put the insert of colour on one side. I did that a few times over there too. So, yeah, and the purple, oh my goodness. This with this, yeah, that's, oh yes. And then with that with it. They don't have to be leaves, they can be petals. If you've got your clematis block in a Quilter's Life, or you got the kit with the pattern, think about the clematis petals. Oh, Judy Vermeulen, I hope you're watching, because you're in my head at the moment thinking about this. Okay. Okay. See these petals up here? In your pattern, if you've got the clematis one, this shape here, that outline in the cork with purple underneath would look amazing. So if you've got them, you can pick anything. It's exciting, isn't it? Anything off the internet that you can find in the shape of a petal. I always call this a tooth petal because it looks like a tooth petal. Give me a second. That kind of shape. So you can have your whole outline in the cork and then use one of these beautiful little pebble bubbly prints, or, you know, that huge scenic one, and just cut up different bits, and you'd actually have your colour in there. So much to do. I don't think I'll sleep now either. I don't know. All right, I'm going to let you go. That was fun. So, peacock through the window. Oh, peacock. Oh, I'm going the wrong way again. Everything's in reverse for me. Peacock, feathers, cork, just saying, Peacock Through the Window kits. I've got 6 and I'm going to bind mine. Hello, beautiful girl. Are you ready for bed? And do you want your dinner? Okay. So we've got, yeah, I know, 6 of those. Well, you did get in the way. You ready? Go. So we've got 6 of those. We've only got a couple of these little guys left. Everything now I'm thinking about cork inserts. Lots and lots of those beautiful bubbly ones are online. There's a couple of colours that I haven't put up. They'll be back on, but you will see them. I'll feature them in the show, but you've got them online as well. And if you order over future, remember to tell me about your cork. Origami's done. I think we're good. You have a fantastic rest of the week. I've got my phone diverted tomorrow because I'm out with Karen and Margaret in the morning having our big next soiree huge meeting. Not just for the Christmas one, because it's not fair to talk about the Christmas one anymore for those that don't have a ticket. Very sad. But we are going through all of our calendars and working out the dates for our ones in Nagambie, in Bacchus Marsh and in Garfield for next year tomorrow. So when you ring through, if I'm not there, please leave me a message and I'll give you a buzz back. But the best way to get me is info@chandlerscottage.com, because this never leaves my side and I check my messages a lot. All right. So again, have a fantastic rest of the week. I've booked in 2 o'clock Thursday next week, and I know that's a great big gap. I will be back somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure where, but I know that we're going to do Thursday next week at 2 p.m. So I've booked that in. There's a lot going on at the moment, getting clubs and stuff ready for next year. All the applique sampler packs have all gone out today and yesterday. And I'll be back with my A Quilter's Life girls doing some more Madame Butterfly over the weekend. And then we're coming up to the next beat. Oh my goodness, there's so much going on. Be mindful as well, all right? So have a fantastic rest of the week sewing. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon, all right? Good evening, everyone. Thank you.